So in the previous revision class, we saw which concepts related to magnetism, right? We saw what is a permanent magnet, what is a temporary magnet. Okay. So in the temporary magnet, one of the magnets is electromagnet. It is called as an electromagnet. Why? Because it acts like a magnet only when current passes through it, and whenever we stop the current passing through that bar, it again it gets demagnetized, right? So that is why it is called as an electromagnet. Now what is the difference between an electromagnet and a permanent magnet? Now electromagnet is a temporary magnet because it acts like a magnet only when current passes through it, and permanent magnet is a naturally occurring magnet which will have its fixed magnetic property. So it is called as a permanent magnet. Okay. So then we can see that in an electromagnet we can change the strength of the magnet. That is the attracting or repulsion property which has got that property, or the field across it can be made strong or weak according to the current passing through it. But in a permanent magnet, it remains, it cannot change. Similarly, the polarities, that is the north pole and the south pole in an electromagnet, can be changed by reversing the current in it. But in a permanent magnet, it remains fixed. Okay, so these are the few differences between an electromagnet and permanent magnet. One more difference you can see is electromagnet we can demagnetize it easily, but for a permanent magnet it is difficult. That is why we always go for an electromagnet instead of a permanent magnet. Then these electromagnets can be used in different equipments, like we use it in motors, we use it in electric bells, then we use it in computers. Okay, so most of the electronic gadgets have an electromagnet in it. It is also used in scrap industry to separate the metal from the other parts. Okay, so these are the few examples where we use the electromagnet. Yes, Sahil. Yes, Sahil. You want me to explain neutral points, right? Okay. Now we saw a magnet and the fields around it, right? Now, if I consider a bar magnet, say this is a bar magnet. There are two, say, bar magnets. Okay. Now, as we see, if I consider this as the north pole and this as the south pole. Hmm? Now, how are the magnetic fields we know? They originate at north and they end at south. They terminate at south pole, right? So the magnetic field of lines will be in this fashion, and they'll be parallel to each other, right? So this is the magnetic field of lines which will be there. And these arrows you can see, right? So they move in this fashion, north to south. Now if I consider one more magnet placed here, and I'm considering say south, this is south and this is north, right? Then here it will be in this fashion. So arrows will be this side. Yes. So now as we can see here, there are two. Okay. Now as you can see here, we have two magnets and the magnetic fields I have drawn over here. Now at this point, at the south pole of the first magnet, what can you see? That the magnetic field of lines are moving from left to right, right? The direction is left to right, correct? Similarly, if I see at this point, at the second magnet at the south pole, what can we see? The direction of magnetic fields is from right to left, correct? Now, if I compare both, what is this? When I compare both the magnets, what can we see? That the direction of the magnetic fields is opposite to each other, right? We can observe that the direction of magnetic field is opposite to each other, right? This is one thing. And if I consider that both the magnets have same magnetic field, okay, strength of the magnet is same. I'll assume that magnetic strength is same for both the magnets. Now the point, now as you can see, the center of these two magnetic fields, say if I consider this as the point, so this point or this region is called as, in this region if I consider any point, that point is called as neutral point. Why? Because the magnetic field of lines are opposite to each other, and the directions are opposite and they have same magnetic strength. Okay, so this, in this region if I consider any point, that point is called as neutral point. So we can say in general that neutral point is a point where the two magnetic field of lines are in opposite direction but have same magnetic strength. Such points or the such regions is called as neutral points. Got it? Yeah. Why it is neutral? Neutral means what? Zero. Okay, you can say null or zero. Now neutral means if I consider one is opposite, both are in opposite direction. So I'll consider one positive, other negative. So one is positive, the other is negative, and I'm saying that the magnitude is same. Say this is plus 2 and minus 2. So answer will be 0, right? So they cancel each other. You can say they are cancelling each other because the magnitude is same and the directions are opposite. That is why it is called as neutral or no change. Yes. It is not applicable, or we are not going to study anything related to two different strengths. Okay. We are only concerned about when the magnetic strength is same. Any other doubt in this lesson you'll have? I told you all plotting, no? In the last class, previous class, I already revised this. You have to just place a magnet or the compass and then go on marking the points. What you have to do is take a white card sheet or a white paper, place a compass at one point. Now, when you place the compass, it will always point in north south direction. That is, it will show here north, this is south, and the arrow will be in this fashion. So, you mark these points, here one point, at north and one at south. Now what you have to do? Now you have to, once you mark this point, this compass you have to pick it up from here and place it over here. Okay. So when you place it over here, now this compass when you place, again it will show north, south with direction upward. So this point is already there. Mark this point and continue. This process you have to continue. So what you get? You get points which are marked in a vertical line. So when you join these points, you get a straight line and it is moving in upward direction. So arrows you have to show up. This is how you mark the magnetic field of lines. Got it? Okay. Now quickly we'll see what is current electricity. Now in current electricity, first we saw is okay, we saw that there are different sources of electricity. There are two sources, which are there? Direct current and alternating current. But we learned the sources of direct current. That is the cells. There are two types of cells: primary cell and secondary cell. Primary cells are cells which cannot be recharged. That is, once we use it and it gets discharged, we have to throw it off. But secondary cells are cells which we can recharge and use it again. Example, the cells what we use in a remote control. Once they once they are used, what we do? Once they are discharged, what we do? We throw it off. Though that is an example of a primary cell. And secondary cells are cells which can be recharged. For example, battery of your mobile. Once your battery gets discharged, what we do? We charge it again, no? We put it to the plug point and charge it. So what we are doing? We are using it again and again. So that is an example of secondary cell. Yes, car battery, that is also a secondary cell. So in general, we can say primary cells. Examples are simple voltaic cells, Lagrange cell, Daniell cell, dry cells. These are primary cells. Secondary cells are of two types: acid based and alkaline based. So acid accumulators. They are called as acid accumulators or alkaline accumulators. Acid means they are made up of nickel and iron, NiNFe. Okay, and the other is alkaline accumulators. That is, if I use an acid in the battery, it is called as acid accumulator. And if I am using an alkaline material or alkaline solution in the battery, it is called as alkaline accumulator. Then we saw that how current flows. Now current flows because of the flow of electrons. Whenever the electrons start moving in a conductor, only then we say that current is flowing. So in general we can say that current is the flow of electrons, and the direction of flow of electrons is always opposite to flow of current. Now when I have positive and negative terminal, a positive terminal means number of protons are more over here, and negative terminal means number of electrons are more over here, right? So always what happens? Flow is always from high concentration to low concentration. Now here the number of electrons are more, so they always move from negative terminal to positive terminal. So electrons always flow from negative terminal to positive terminal, but flow of current is opposite, that it is always flows from positive terminal to negative terminal. It always flows from positive terminal to negative terminal. So this is the direction of flow of electrons, and this is the direction of flow of current. So they are always opposite to each other. Then in the circuits, electric circuits, we learned different types of symbols. Which were there? We saw the symbol of a battery or a cell, that is source of current. Then we saw the symbol of a key, right? Okay. So first we saw symbol of a source of current. Now what are the sources of current? We have cell, that is shown like this. If it is a battery, it is like this, right? Many cells together forms battery. Then we have alternating source. Alternating source is shown by a circle with a wave. These two are direct sources and this is an alternating source. This is the cell, this is the battery. Okay, alternating source means the supply what we get in our plugs, the switches what we have in our homes, no? The current what we get from that is alternating current. And the current what we get in the batteries stored, that is a direct current. Okay, that is the difference between them. Then we saw key. Key is used to on or off the circuit, right? Then we have open key and closed key. Now open key was with two brackets and closed key with in between the two brackets one dot. So this showed closed and this was open key. Then we saw switch. Switch is shown by open switch and this was closed switch, right? And then we had tapping key. Tapping key means where we can change the resistance connected. Tapping key is shown by an arrow, right, which is not connected, it is open. If the arrow is connected to the other terminal, it is closed. So these are the sources of onning and offing the circuit. Then we saw a resistor. Resistor is which opposes the flow of current. That is, it decides how much current will flow in that circuit. So if it is fixed resistance, that is the opposition force is fixed, then it is shown in this fashion. It is called as resistor. If I can vary the resistance, then it is called as rheostat and it is shown in this fashion with an arrow. Okay, this is called as rheostat. Now example of rheostat is the regulator of your fan. Now as you change the number on the regulator 1, 2, 3, 4, what is happening? The speed of the fan keeps on changing, right? Now why does it change? Because of the resistor connected. Now when I'm changing it from 1, 2, 3, from 1 to 2, what is happening? The speed is changing. Speed is changing means current supplied to the fan is going on increasing. That is why the speed of the fan is increasing. So what is happening when this current is increasing means resistance of that is going on decreasing. So we are able to change the speed of the fan. So there we are using a rheostat or it is also called as variable resistor. Then we saw ammeter. Ammeter is a device which will measure the amount of current flowing in the circuit. It is shown by a circle with A written in it. Then we saw voltmeter. Voltmeter is a device used to measure voltage. That was shown by a circle with V written in it. And then we had galvanometer. Galvanometer is an instrument to measure or it will show you the direction of flow of current in it. Or we can say that whether current is flowing or no can be found out by using this galvanometer. What happens in this galvanometer? We will have a arrow at 0. Okay. So if this arrow changes its direction, that is if it moves towards the left or right, then we say that current is flowing. If it remains stationary at 0 only, then we say that current is not flowing in the circuit. And lastly, we saw was load. Load means what? Load is an equipment which will utilize current. So load can be anything. It can be a bulb, it can be a fan, it can be a laptop, mobile, charger, anything is called as a load. So load is an instrument which will draw current or utilize current. So it can be anything. So I can use a bulb over there, right? A bulb. That is a load. So these were the different symbols we saw. Then we saw the simple circuit. Now usually circuit consists of cell, battery, cell or a battery. Then we'll have a switch and then the connecting wires. Connecting wires are shown by simple straight lines. Okay, simple lines will show you that they are wires. Wires are used to flow of, it will help to connect two different equipments, and it is a path through which current will flow from one device to another device, right? That is a wire. So this is what we saw. Then we saw what is an insulator and conductor. Insulator is a material which does not allow current to flow through it. For example, wood, plastic. Now if I connect a wire to it, will current flow through it? No. So it is called as an insulator. Now conductor is a device or a material which allows current to flow through it. Yes. So for example, copper, steel, aluminium. If I connect that wire made of it to the source of current, what we can see, that current is flowing through it. So it is called as a conductor. So what is a open? Then we saw the types of circuits: closed circuit and open circuit. Closed circuit means whenever current flows in that circuit, when it is completely closed using wires, there is no opening anywhere, then it is called as a closed circuit. And in closed circuit, current flows. Open circuit, wherever there is a breakage or no connection between any two equipments, then we called it as open circuit. And in open circuit, current doesn't flow. This is what we saw. Then we saw how current flows, right? Why current flows? Now current flows because of the difference in potential, that is the difference in level of the number of electrons in both the terminals. Example what we saw was the two conductors. We have different types of conductors, right? We can say we have positively charged conductor, negatively charged conductor, and a neutral conductor. When I say positively charged, means what? Number of protons are more over here. When I say negatively charged conductor, number of electrons are more over here. And when I say neutral, it means that number of protons and number of electrons both are equal over here, right? So when I connect a positively charged conductor with a neutral conductor, what happens? Here I can see that number of protons are more, right? And here we can see protons and electrons are of same charge. So what happens over here? The electrons will start moving from neutral atom towards the positive conductor. Okay. Similarly, if I connect a positively charged conductor with a negatively charged conductor using a wire, here I can see the number of protons are more, and here I can see the number of electrons are more, right? So now here electrons are more and here electrons are very less. So what happens? Electrons will start moving from negative charged particle to positively charged particle. So flow of current will be from right to left. But if I connect a neutral and a negatively charged particle, then what will happen? As you can see here, the electrons are more, so current will start moving from negatively charged conductor to neutral conductor. And if I connect a positively charged conductor with a neutral conductor, electrons will flow from neutral to positive terminal. So you can remember it in this fashion. It depends on what you are connecting. Which two conductors are connected, accordingly flow of electrons take place. Okay, that is why we say that always charges flow from high concentration to low concentration. Example what we saw was, say, water. We have two beakers which are connected with a pipe filled with water. Say one level is high and one level is low. So here what happens is, water will start flowing from beaker A to beaker B. From here it starts moving over here, and the level of water in this will rise, right? So we can say that the flow of any this is always from high level to low level. Similarly, same takes place in these types of charges. Here we are comparing the number of electrons. Wherever the number of electrons are more, from that conductor it will always move towards the conductor which is having less number of electrons. Okay, that is how we can come to know the flow of electrons. Then we saw was voltage. Voltage is what? The potential difference. The potential at the two terminals is called as voltage. That is, if I consider the two terminals plus and minus, we have no two terminals, a positive terminal and negative terminal. Now what if both the terminals had same potential? That is, in the beaker, if I had same amount of water in both, okay, if I had same amount of water in both the beakers, then what would happen? Then the water would not flow, right? The water would not flow from A to B or B to A because the levels are same. Similarly, same thing happens in current also. If at the both the potentials or at the both the terminals, if the number of electrons become same, then there will be no flow of current or no electrons will flow. That is why we always have one terminal as positive, the other as negative. So positive means number of electrons over here will be less, and negative means here the number of electrons will be more. That is why current or electrons start flowing. Okay, and this difference is called as potential difference, due to which current will flow. Then we saw was resistance. Resistance is what? It is the property of a material to oppose the flow of electrons. That is a resistance, right? So resistance of any material depends on four factors. One is the wire, material of the wire. Example, we have silver, copper, then wood, plastic, right? So the amount of resistance each material has is different, because of which the amount of current flowing in each is different. Now when I consider wood, it does not allow current to flow through it. So I can say the resistance of wood is very high. But if I consider copper, copper allows current to flow through it. So I can say the resistance of copper is less compared to wood. That is one. The second was length of the wire. Now if the length of the wire goes on increasing, then the resistance of the wire also goes on increasing. That was the second thing. Third was the thickness or cross sectional area. If the cross sectional area goes on increasing, resistance will decrease. So they were opposite. And the last one was the temperature. If the resistance of the wire increases, then the temperature also increasing. So there were four factors on which resistance of any conductor depends. That is material, length, area of cross section, and the temperature. This is what we learned, right? And we also saw a few of the formulas which are related in this, which are there in this chapter. Which were they? One was for voltage or potential difference. That is V is equal to I into R. Then we had for current. Current is given by charge upon time, or current was also given as N into E upon T, where N is the number of electrons, E is charge on electron, and T is time. Then we had resistance also. R is given by V upon I, or I is also given by V upon R. Then we had work done. Work done was given by V into Q. Right? So these were the different formulas what we saw. Okay, so it is already 11:50. So I'll end the class over here. Okay, so study well, go through all the numericals, all the question answers given for all the three lessons. And for maths, you'll practice all different types of sums. Okay, and all the best for your exams.